perfect example.
Oh, no.
And when I lost my husband, it was extremely hard for me because when he passed, there were several times that I thought I would lose him. And at the time and the point that he decided that he had had enough, he asked me, had I changed my mind about the divorce? I said, no. Have you changed your mind? He said, no. And within less than probably a minute and a half, he was dead.
Okay, let's take a moment to think about that. So, Katie, you're saying that your husband committed suicide.
Yes, he did.
I am so sorry.
And I hate to bring people down with that kind of a story, but I want you to know that there was a great deal of good that came out of that. So please do not think that this was the end all.
Can you tell us about the good that came out of that, please?
Absolutely, I can. My daughter was not quite 2 at the time, so she didn't have a father. She grew up without one. All she had was a story that her grandparents told her, a story that I told her. I waited until she was about 11 years old to tell her the truth. When she looked me in the eye and said, Mom, people are saying things at school.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, let's sit down and talk about it. Can you handle it? She said, yep. And to this day, she's very grateful over the fact that I spoke to her like an adult. And I told her exactly what happened. But I also tempered that with the fact that he loved her more than life itself.
Yeah. She gets to live with that. She knows that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And none of us ever let her feel anything different. John was a good man.
Yep.
He had a kind heart. It was so kind, in fact, that he couldn't take the pressures of the hate of this world.
Okay.
And I understand that. I didn't then. It took 10 years and 3 therapists for me to figure out I wasn't the one that pulled the trigger. But I can tell you very succinctly that he was a good man. And I don't, to this day, believe that he meant to do it.
Okay, so let's talk about the 10 years and 3 therapists.
Okay?
Let me know. How did
it was difficult.
I mean, that could not be easy.
It was not.
Anybody who could.
The year that he passed, I tried to go back to college. Mm-hmm. I wanted so much to make my daughter proud of me.
Right.
So I went to school, and Nicole knows where I went to school. It was Southwest Missouri State University at the time. And I couldn't make it around a quarter-mile track without doubling over. And my coach at the time came to me very privately.
So you were in track?
I was trying to pass a physical ed course.
Okay.
And she came to me and she said, what's wrong? And I said, it hurts. Every time I try to run, it hurts, and it hurts really bad. So she sent me to the infirmary from the school, and I said, I can't. I don't have the money. I don't have a way to do that. She said, don't worry about it. I want you to go. So they did an upper GI, and yes, they found what they call a duodenal ulcer. And I was very close to bleeding. So the stress of the death, the stress of the child, the stress of everything that had gone on had taken its toll. And needless to say, I dropped out for a while.
Yeah.
I had to, because I had to heal. And I ate more tomato soup with soda crackers than I ever want to admit. But it helped.
Well, if it helped,
I got through it.
With soda crackers.
But we survived.
You did.
Nicole?
So I'd like to fast forward a little bit more and going into, because the reason why I want to fast forward is because this is how our common ground started, the Navy.
Absolutely. I was 34 years old, so we are fast-tracking a lot here.
So how old were you when your husband died?
19.
Okay, so now we're up to 34.
Yeah.
And you were with your parents, and you
no, actually, I was living on my own.
You did?
I survived quite well on my own.
Good job.
I went to college. I went to work. I raised my child the best way I knew how. And I am probably 35 credits away from a bachelor's degree.
Okay.
I did get my associate's degree. I raised my daughter to be a creative, independent individual and to live her own life, and she has. I have 2 wonderful grandchildren. One is 20, well, they will both be 23 and 22 respectively on the same day in March. Their births were a year apart, 2.5 hours difference in delivery time.
Oh my goodness.
Awesome.
So let's fast forward. So the Navy, tell us about the Navy.
Okay, the Navy was a lot of fun. I went in on an advanced pay grade, which means that you kind of get pushed through basic training in about 2 weeks. So you don't have a whole lot of time to think about what you're doing. You're just kind of in. They're telling you that you got to do this, and this, and you have to comply. And as it turned out, I was pretty good at computer softwares. So I was teaching commanders and colonels and admirals how to use a brand new computer system called the Enable system.
At like what? What we would call the enlisted rate of like E?
I was an E3.
Yes.
I was a seaman. I was a yeoman. When yeoman is a fancy word for secretary. And I said, oh, this ought to be fun. What are we going to do? Write them out or throw our typewriters at them?
You were showing men what to do.
I was.
You were doing.
And it paid off handsomely because I was solo sailor recorder the first year I was in, and I received 3 commendations from admirals. So my 8-year stint in the Navy was very productive for me, and I loved it.
That's awesome. So how old were you when you left the Navy?
Well, let me think. I was 34 when I enlisted, so that meant I would have been 42 by the time I got out.
All right, so what happens? You're 42, you get out of the Navy, and now what?
Okay, I have gone to, let's see, I've worked at a men's warehouse. I have waited tables. I've been a bartender. I've been a cocktail waitress. And now I'm going to work in a casino. I worked in casinos for 15 years after that.
What'd you do at the casino?
I started out as a dealer, worked my way up to pit boss, came to Florida as a supervisor at the Ocean Jewel, which went belly up in 2005. Almost 1 year to the day that it opened.
Jeez Louise.
And here we are now talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're...
Tell us about Society Bites Radio.
Okay, we've got 3 minutes here, so I'm going to make this real quick. Society Bites Radio was the brainchild of Joseph Dzinski, who is our executive producer. He is the owner and founder of Amenity Studios and Amenity Group, LLC. I came along as the pet lady on Suncoast Community Radio because at the time I had a pet sitting service. And I was very happy. I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of people, did a lot of things. If you've ever heard of the Yappy Hour at Motorworks Brewery in Bradenton, I started that. And now
I have heard.
They have taken that and done great things with it since and raised a lot of money for a lot of animals. So I'm very proud to have been the founder of that. And when Joe found me, he found out that I could do a lot more than just talk about pets. And the next thing you know, here I am.
Awesome. Well, we love this radio station. You do so much for local business, and we are so grateful as Sassy Sisters to be associated with you. And thank you so much for being on our show tonight. And if you...
How can we reach you, Miss Katie O'Neill?
It's very, very easy to reach me. Go to societybitesradio.com. Go to the More tab. It says Connect. or it says KMK. Now, I'm going to make this real quick. Connect with me to find out what you want to know about me, but click that KMK button and leave us your pet peeves for Kiss My Keister, which is my signature show on Society Bites Radio. And Nicole is co-host, and we have Joe Riggio as our third co-host on that. So
awesome.
Please join in, have some fun, send us your pet peeves.
Real quick, Katie, how do you spell bites?
BYTES.
Awesome. And if you're interested in learning more about Sassy Sisters, it's SassySistersInc.com, SassySistersInc.com. Thanks for being with us today. We're so excited that you're listening to us. Thank you so much for Katie O'Neill. Thank you, Miss Nicole Lopez, for being my guest co-host and for drinking whatever that wine is that you're drinking. And we are listening to Society Bites Radio in beautiful downtown Sarasota.